Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I have brought a very interesting poem. Name is Kalki, written by Kuvempu and translated by Dr. P.S. So, what is the greatest enemy of a humanity? If there is anything which is, it's nothing else but poverty. As now we can discuss about our economic condition. You have seen there is unequal distribution of income and wealth, which leads to rich becomes more richer and poor becomes more poorer. In this lockdown, is anybody suffering? Is that the poor and the people who are peasant farmer and the local people only are suffering? They are being more hit by the poverty. But what about the richer? They are enjoying their time, okay, whatever it is lockdown or whatever, they are having their luxurious life as usual. So here, is there any great enemy of humanity? It's poverty. And poverty can be eradicated only through education. And not only education, but giving equal opportunity to all, providing equal opportunity to all. So by that only we can be able to eradicate poverty. So about the poet, Kuvempu is Kuppalli Venkatappa Puttappa, the most renowned writer in Kannada. He was born in Kuppalli, a picturesque village in Malnad region of Karnataka. Kuvempu has written two novels, Tannuru Subbamma Heggadadi and Melagalli Madumagalu. He has composed several plays, short stories and poems. Some of his work includes plays like Shudra Tapasvi, Kindari Jogi, this kind of poems, and Basiru Kannada Dimdimava, and the state anthem of Karnataka, Jai Bharata Janani Tanujate. His masterpiece Ramayana Darshanam won him the prestigious title like Jnanapita, and he became the first writer in Kannada to have won the award. He was awarded the title Rashtra Kavi, okay, Rashtra Kavi, the state poet. The beauty of the nature in Malnad region is described vividly by Kuvempu in his literary pieces, and he is rightly called as the Wordsworth of Kannada. He has written more about nature. How you would have gone through with the poem Heaven if you are not here on earth, where else you would be. So he says if heaven should be anywhere, it should be in here in earth only. We can't find a separate physical location for heaven. So he's a compared to Wordsworth of he's called as the Wordsworth of Kannada. Kuvempu's poem Kalki, it depicts the wrath and the anguish of the poor. So it depicts the wrath. Wrath means the great anger, and the great anger of the poor, okay, and the poor, not only the poor and the people who are unprivileged, okay, downtrodden. The poem presents the horror of the poverty-ridden society. The poem elaborately brings out the disparity between the deprived and the privileged. So what is here in this, the poet will compare the people who are rich with the people who are poor, and the poem delivers the message that the wrath of the poor, that is that the anger of the poor, if it is ignored, it will lead to a big disaster. Catastrophe means nothing but a disaster. If you ignore the hunger of a poor person, if you ignore the anger of a poor person, surely it will lead to a disaster. Hunger can lead to revolution, as history has proved it. The poem is rich in imaginary and the use of metaphors. So Kalki means it is a belief. Kalki means it is a belief, like Kalyug. Many people believe that we have 4 stages. Satyug, many, I don't know properly. Okay. Satyug means a pure time, okay, where people will be good and no sins will be done, commitment of sins will be like nil. That is Satyug, very pure yug. Kalyug is like very hard time. Kal means it's like very, it's Kalyug means where people will be like, it's a very bad time where people will all be in the all will be committing sins, okay, so that is Kalyug. So Kalki means pure, sinless, and Kalki, it is a belief that a person who comes in a white horse with a sword on his hand, and the horse name will be Devadatta, and it will be a reincarnation of Vishnu or Krishna, okay, that will be called as Kalki, who will come to maintain good, okay, to restore good in the world. So it is a belief that if there is more sin in the world, then a person will come to restore good into this world. So such belief, a person who will be riding a horse and who will come, it will be a reincarnate of Krishna or Vishnu, and that person who will come to restore good into this world will be called as Kalki. Okay, now let's move on to the poem. Here now the poet says that he is walking in the street of dream. the dream street in the world of sleep, okay, into the world of sleep, in the dream street, I trudged and toiled. I trudged means I walked slowly due to tiredness. I trudged and toiled, but I lost my way. I worked hard, so I was tired and I was like walking slowly due to tidiness and I lost my way. There before me was unrolled. So in front of him, something was opened, unrolled. There was a forest. It was dense and immense, with gigantic trees untold. There was huge trees untold. And creepers close entwined. So there were lots of creepers. These all are the trees, okay? They were very much twisted, very much closely twisted to each other. They were bushes which was full of thorns, creepers with saw-toothed leaves. Saw means it is a kind of a weapon, okay? It is a kind of a very sharp edges, okay? The creepers had the leaves which was very pricky, and prickly pears looming like specters. So the fruit which was there, which was hanging in the tree, was also very prickly. The pears was very prickly and it was looming. Looming means it is not clear and it was frightening, okay? And the specters was also, specters means it was like unpleasant, okay? The image was unpleasant to see. I picked my way through the forest, okay? So he says that I was moving into the forest, through the vast forest of my dream. So in which of the forest he was moving? He was moving into the forest of his dream. There I saw a weird half light. So he saw a weird half light which was not light, not even dark. So it was not a, there he saw a light. It was not even light nor even darkness. So he says, whether it was a light or darkness, who will know? The Lord alone will know. The Lord alone knows. What was it? It was a light or it was a darkness. What was it? Was only will be known by the Lord. Phantoms of fear slunk and starved. Phantoms, ghost of fear, slunk. Slunk means to move smoothly. So according to him, he was getting feared. So the ghost of fear was moving slowly and it was watching, okay, from a long period. So that is mean by stalk. Stalked means to watch to somebody for long period. Slunk means to move smoothly. So the ghost of fear slunk and stalked in that horrible forest, in that scary forest. I walked and walked, still walked and walked, without abandoning the adventure, without leaving the adventure. He kept on walking, without losing my heart. Silence all around, the silence of the grave. I crossed the forest. Before me was a mountain. So already it was a very immense, deep forest. He crossed the forest. It was full of silence, a silence of the grave. He crossed the forest. Now it was before him was a mountain. Summit means top of mountain. Okay, summit means top of mountain. He rise after the forest, it rose a mountain, atop of the mountain, touching the very clouds. So he saw a mountain immediately after the forest and he started climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. At last he came upon its crest, its top of the mountain. He finally climbed. He beheld there. Okay, he stood there. There on the summit's crest, mountain's top, what was that city? That city over there. Yonder means over there. So when he was on the top of the mountain, he noticed a city which was over there. It was the city which was of sheer enchantment. Sheer means great amount of, and enchantment means attraction. It was a city of sheer enchantment. The mansion of the rich rose on one side. So he says that there was a mansion of the rich on the one side, and there was a small huts of the poor on the other side. So the rich person's palace was glowing with the crystal lamps. It was blazing, it was brightening with the crystal lamps. But on the other side, it was darkness, pitch darkness in the poor side. The soft voice of song on that side, into the rich place, there were songs of very soft voice, and on the other side, in the poor people's side, there was a long scream of lament. Lament means sadness, a cry of sadness. Even we call it as matam. Okay, so on one side there was a melody, there was a voice, soft voice of song going on the rich side, and there was a scream of cry on the poor side. So from the people who were rich, from pride, they used to throw away their foods. Okay, after eating, after the party, after their dinner, they used to throw away their foods with the pride that, oh, we don't eat the leftover foods. Like that, they used to throw away the foods over there in the rich side. And on the poor side, in the need of the food, in the want of the food, they used to cry away there. Pine means to suffer. For want of food, they suffer away there in the poor side. In the rich side, you see a park, and in the poor side, you see a grave. And rich people, they parade, they walk themselves in the silk. And in the poor people, they don't have a rag to cover their lions here, to cover their babies, to cover their children. They don't even have a rag, cloth, to something to put on. I looked and looked, still looked and looked, and I was looking. I started out of fright, and he started out of fear. What he see, that from the bellies of the poor rose the fire of hunger. From the stomach of the poor, there rose the fire because of the hunger. The huntsmen actually themselves first caught the fire. Dhug, 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 and it blazed. Bugil, 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 it's closed in. Up to the clouds, up to the skies, up to the tuft of all the quarter. Tuft means growing. So here the fire is getting caught. Dug, 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 bugil, 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 it's closed in, and upon the clouds, up to the skies, the fire is growing. 1/4 of the everything is getting fire. It's getting burned. It was nothing but the fire of the poor man's hunger. Shot out its tongue and drew the rich in, and enfolded them in its arm. So the fire of the poor, it shot out its tongue and brought the rich into the fire, and enfolded them, twisted them into its arm. The fire of the poor enfolded the rich into its arm. What a devil is the anger of the poor. The anger of the poor is compared here with the ocean fire. Feeling ashamed, hung down its head. So it took over their heads from their body. The fire of the poor man's hunger blazing, burning, signed the crest of the mansions of the rich. It reached to the top of their buildings, their mansions of the rich people who had used to live a luxurious life. Standing on the peak of a far-off mountain, I too felt the heat of the flames of that fire. What he was seeing, he was able to feel the heat. That much the fire has been spreaded off. Instantly I heard, woe, woe, woe is me. Sad, oh sad, sadness is me. And I heard the screamings of babies and children, mothers expecting child and mothers in childbed, newlywed brides and long married ladies, the young, the old, the lame, the deaf. So everyone came into the fire and they started to cry, oh my sadness, this is the fire of the hunger people, this is the fire of the poor people, this is the angriness of the poor people, to which we have all become the victim of. Everyone from a lame to the deaf, everyone, especially those who were dead, to the wails of the poor. So everyone dead with the cry. Wails means the cry, the loud cry of the poor. And those who had donned the ochre robes of the monk. Donned means to wear, to put on the clothes. The ochre means yellowish orange robes which the monks wear, just for the sake of filling their big bellies. So what the monks do, what does the pujaris do, what does the many of the people like monks, okay, they they will ask the rich people to come first. Even they see the differentiation, just for filling their big bellies, okay, who by feeding the poor with ignorant superstition had bought themselves a life of wealth and comfort, and touched not anything but rich and luxurious fare. So how the people, the pujaris, I not only pujaris nowadays, like everyone in the name of the religion, they exploit. Okay, simply they'll feed the poor, but they'll be having a very luxurious life. So all the priests and their disciples who used to live in their monasteries, everything burned up. All the people who try to be very good but exploit, in the end they have the exploiting nature, everything gets burned up with the devastating fire. It is the fire of the hungry fire burning in the bowels of the poor. The fire rising in the poor man's belly is verily the fire of the ocean's belly. If it is the fire which is rising in the poor man's belly, it is compared that it is the fire of the ocean's belly. It means such vast, such endless and limitless the fire will be. And it is indeed the poor man himself that comes as the Kalki of the Kali age. So our Savior is going to come. A Kalki is going to come to restore good into this world. He was gazing and still gazing. He was seeing, he was spectating and still looking at there when the dread spectacle vanished from sight. But what was this new spectacle? The first sight, which was the flow of blood, which was the fire, it completely got vanished. Now he see a new sight, new scenery, that there is a falls of blood, stings of human flesh, dropping and dropping, plunging and plunging, means falling and falling. Did the blood roar? Springing from it was the people's anguish scream. The heaven were all blood. The rich people, their luxurious life, their mansions were all blood. The earth was all blood. Look everywhere, it was blood. It was blood. Oh my sadness, and alas, it was blood. In the plunging red blood falls, in the dropping red blood falls, human skulls and human trunks. Human trunks means a body apart from the head. Okay, human trunks were all dropping down, plunging down, and as the hailstone rolled down, as a hurricane, as a flood rolls down in the monsoon swollen stream, like that itself, rising up was the spray of hot blood. The head of beauties, marrow balls of the rich, bodies of vice, bodies of virtue, towers of temple, houses of religion, floating, 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 and floating, We are driven down like straw. Who was he that in the distance was charging onward ruthlessly? So he says that everything vanished, the fire vanished on one side, and on the other side he sees the misery all over. There was blood, heads, human flesh, stinking. However, everything was one, whether it was a body of a vice, whether it was a body of a virtue, whether the houses of temples, houses of religions, everything was floating and floating and floating, and everything was driven down like straw. And somebody was there into the distance, and he was charging on the word ruthlessly. He was mounted, he was sitting on a skeleton horse, shaking his hoary white beard. He was the skeleton man, the very spectre of a man. It was spectre means here image, okay. It was a very much image of a man. He was in a skeleton, so it was not defined who was he. In his right hand there was a sword which was completely flashing like lightning, and in his left hand there was a lightning itself. A skeleton horse and a skeleton rider. The person who is riding the skeleton horse is a skeleton rider. Was this the self same Kalki? So he is calling to himself, was this the Kalki? Is he the Kalki? The skeleton man, an image of a man. In his right hand a sword flashing like lightning, and in his left lightning itself. A skeleton horse and a skeleton rider. Was this the self named Kalki? The life of the poor incarnate. The life of the poor incarnate means to take a form of a human being. Okay, the life of the poor has taken the form of a human being. The rebirth of the poor, the rebirth of the grief of the poor is he, the Kalki. He was kept on looking and looking. I gazed and kept gazing. I listed and kept listing. Hungry, oh the hunger. Thirsty, oh the thirst, he cried. Blood, 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 I want blood, he shrieked, and plunged into the flood of blood. He falled into the flood of blood, drop along with his horse. He dipped and dipped his hand in the blood, and drank palmful, handful of the bloods. He picked up the head bobbing up for the blood, and half of the head he gobbled, he gulped, he ate. The skeleton horse also neighed and neighed. He also sounded, neighed and neighed. The great din seemed to shatter the world. The skeleton figure guffawed and guffawed. He laughed and laughed out loud, raising peal after peal of thunder. Peal after peal of thunder means he was making noise. Okay, peal means a loud ringing of bells like a thunder. The horse also drank, the rider also drank, and both crunched. They ate the dead bones, chewed, crunched the dead bones and ate. The flood of blood dried up. Still they were thirsty. Everything they ate up, they drank the blood, but still they were thirsty. The corpses, the dead bodies had all been swallowed. Still they were hungry. Oh, the quenchless thirst of the throats of the poor. Oh, the quenchless hunger of the bellies of the poor. Never, never is that belly filled. Never, never is that belly filled. Lost, I am lost. Sad is me, I am lost. Woe is me, I am lost. He has sighted me. Oh, he has caught me. On this mountain peak, oh, he is coming. I screamed. I will won't eat. I will won't ignore the poor. I will won't eat their opportunities. I won't grab. I won't snatch away their opportunities. Don't come towards me. I won't do anything for bad for the poor and the people who are in the poverty. He screamed. I stood gazing. I shuddered and I dropped. Kalki, oh, it's Kalki, I screamed. The person who has come to take the revenge for whatever the bad happening into this world. And my dream was broken. And I was awake. How could there be any more sleep? How could there be any more sleep? So it's even our time. If we don't give equal opportunity, if we still love with this unequal distribution of income and wealth, to which rich is getting more richer and poor is getting more poor, and we are not providing equal opportunities to all, then even this will be our reality. This will be our reality. A Kalki will be sure to come. On that time, he will not see your caste, your power, property, your religion, your virtues, your wives, your mothers, your ladies. Nothing will be judged, and we all will get burned into the fire of the poverty. The hunger fire of the poor will burn away everything. It will lead to a bigger disaster. Before that let of the bigger disaster to happen, let's give equal opportunity to each and everyone. Everyone has their own rights to live into this country peacefully. Not only in this country, but in this world, in this globe, in this earth, everyone has equal opportunity, irrespective of their caste, religion, status, rich, poor, whatever. So that is all about, which is being translated from Kannada by Dr. P.S. I hope this video helped you. Surely I will upload the summary of this poem as well. If you found this video helpful, do like, share, subscribe, comment and give me suggestions. And after subscribing, don't forget to hit the bell icon to get my latest for getting the latest notifications. Okay, have a very good day.